Hello, everyone, and I am back from a sort of long hiatus here. Um, got pretty busy with school, my schooling and job and whatnot. Luckily, for the most part, the weather um, has been fairly quiet across the area. Definitely not uh, the entire time. There has been some stormy um, periods of time across the southeast and especially the Higher Valley. Throughout June and early July, and then really the last month or so, the southeast has really gotten um, that rainfall to really start to really kick in. But nothing really crazy has happened. Um, however, we do have a major hurricane in play out in the Atlantic Ocean, and it's hurricane season. It's that time of year, so we've got to pay extra attention to these tropical waves that come off Africa and try to form out in the Atlantic. So here is our current satellite imagery here. This is Erin, um, sort of northeast of the Bahamas here, east northeast of the Bahamas. Um, well, mainly east of the Bahamas, but Turks and Caicos, sort of northeast of Turks and Caicos, almost north now. And we can see this um, you can see this really well defined, sort of kind of can't see it in such a zoom in here. Oh, as it updates, but we can do see that sort of center, and it is finally kicking off to the northwest. It's finally looking like it has already started to make the turn to the northwest and then north eventually, but it's finally starting to really kick it into gear to the northwest, starting that turning movement in between the East Coast and Bermuda. So again, nasty storm, large storm, and the storm's actually going to grow in size as it gets closer to the mid latitudes. Um, so um, interesting to watch. I think the Outer Banks will have some effects from Erin. Don't think it'll be too terrible, but definitely something to keep an eye out for the Outer Banks. So this is the sort of key messages for Erin here. This is from the National Hurricane Center. And we can sort of see just the general information here. Mainly flooding expected along the islands, tropical storm conditions through the Bahamas. Um, I think the main thing for the United States here is going to be the life-threatening surf and the rip currents along the beaches, as they mentioned here in three. And then they also mentioned the Outer Banks of North Carolina should monitor the progress of Erin and that tropical storm conditions are possible for the Outer Banks. So um, tropical storm watches, I think, will be. I think, yeah, they say here will maybe be required later today. I think they will be needed for sure by tomorrow morning for the Outer Banks, personally. And we'll get into that here in a second. But here's the key messages. Let's look at sort of the wind speed probabilities here. And we have a probability 0 to 100% of tropical storm force winds, so around 40 miles per hour. And we can see in the Outer Banks, we do have a very low chance, around a 20% chance for some tropical storm force winds, sustained tropical storm force winds, I should say. Um, but nothing, nothing crazy, nothing, um, needing to take major action. It's manageable. But that's the wind field so far. This updated earlier today, um, this morning. Let's look at our rainfall potential. This is really, I think only, yeah, this is only going to really highlight the islands, but we can see a few inches of rainfall, Turks Caicos and through the Bahamas as well. And here is just the overall sort of cone forecast here. We do have the tropical storm warnings and tropical storm watches across the Bahamas. And we do see that sort of northwestern path. It'll take really for the next day or so, day and a half, and then it'll start turning north by Wednesday, and then off to the northeast by Wednesday night. So at least that is the hope. We'll see how we'll see how far this northwest track takes. There is not a whole lot of movement between the 200, 700, and 200 to 700 millibar level, which these deeper storms really focus on moving on that sort of level of or that sort of layer, I should say. So the 700 to 200 millibar level is fairly it's not really promoting the movement of the storm too much. It's but that should change the next few days as it begins to sort of pull off to the north. So next, I do want to show. Let's try to find it here. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I was just making sure I got everything I needed together here. So we're gonna look at sort of the high resolution tropical focus models here. So the HFSA, HAFSA. We're gonna look at a few of these tropical sort of based models here. Um, just look at what sort of they show here. This is the this morning's run here, and we can see through the afternoon the northwestern sort of progression continues to take place. This is Tuesday afternoon. Still hasn't moved a whole lot. It's still sort of east of the Bahamas, but it is moving. Begins to sort of kick up steam, I think, by Wednesday morning here, as it is now sort of past the Bahamas, north of the Bahamas, now east of Florida. Um, if we could start to see the east coast here of North Carolina come into the picture. So Erin is off the coast of South Carolina, eastward. Most of its activity is going to be from the southern to the northern part and the eastern side of the hurricane, which is a fairly common occurrence. But as this moves on to the northeast at this point, we can see some outer bands by Wednesday night here start to impact the Outer Banks. Gusty winds, heavy showers, maybe maybe a stronger wind gust up to 50 miles per hour, but nothing crazy. And we can see by Thursday morning here, uh, more outer bands sort of work its way inland toward North Carolina. Fairly close. It's getting a little too close for comfort, I'd say, but definitely still far out enough to where minor impacts are possible. I think the wave and the surf are going to be the main issues with this, which we will look at soon. But as this moves off to the northeast, really all impacts by Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening should be, at least rain-wise, should be finished with the Outer Banks. There will be leftover gusty winds and possible even some coastal flooding. There will maybe some roads along the Outer Banks that could flood over and be impassable. So take that into account. But this model run, I think has a great sort of handle on it. This is the wind gust here, and I'm only gonna sort of extend it up here along the Outer Banks here, and we can see sort of 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts possible. Um, Sort of along like the Wilmington and South Carolina coast, 25 mile per hour wind gusts at best. It'll likely be Wednesday afternoon through night for the best odds for that, but nothing crazy. But along the Outer Banks, yeah, we can see 40 to 50, maybe even some pockets of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. But again, this is just one mile run. We can't just focus on that. Let's look at a different one here. And I guess again, wind gust wise, showing around the same sort of uh, range of wind, 40 to 50 miles per hour, with maybe a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, especially on that far eastern end of the Outer Banks there. And of course, if this deviates even 10, 15 miles more to the east, we're looking at maybe gust up to 70 miles per hour. So that slight sort of shift to the east or west could make a 10 to 15 mile per hour difference, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but it could mean from minor damage to little damage, little to no damage to maybe minor damage across the Outer Banks. So definitely something to watch for. That's why you got to keep an eye on that. But the wind field is around the same for this is the HFSB model, HAFSB model. So the last one we looked at was the A. This is the B. Um, look at our reflectivity real quick. We can see some sort of outer band activity possibly work its way across Wilmington by Wednesday night, but we can see here the Outer Banks and just east of Wilmington. The outer bands will be impacting portions of that region of North Carolina, and then really the rain doesn't kind of let up until Thursday evening. Um, if we compare this to the A model, it's around the same. The B HFSB model does maybe have some more kind of more rain and convection with it, but nothing too different. Let's look at one more model here, um, and just look at if it's. Huh, never mind. I guess we will not look at that. Let's see if we can look at a few more here. I don't think we'll be able to get a real good view of it, but again, this is by Tuesday morning here, and we'll be able to start seeing it on the bottom of the screen. And by Tuesday, we see the outer bands at the bottom of the screen, and by really Tuesday night, we'll start to see it peek through. And then Wednesday afternoon, we can see some of those outer bands kind of reach the Outer Banks and maybe even the Wilmington area by Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon. But according to this model, which only goes out to Wednesday evening, um, yeah, outer bands and gusting winds look to be an issue for the Outer Banks down through possibly Wilmington, Myrtle Beach area, Wednesday and Thursday. So that seems to be the gist of the weather conditions out of Erin. I do want to look at I do want to look at some surf forecasts. So let me pull those up real quick. All right, so I am going to show two sort of I'm going to show two websites here that I like to use. This one I'll show the National Weather Service website I like to use, and this is sort of a third party uh, website I like, and I see forecasts fairly accurately compared to other ones. So this is a 12-day forecast for Myrtle Beach, um, and we'll do another one sort of near the Outer Banks, but this is the Myrtle Beach sort of wave forecast, and we have our feet where these arrows are. We have our sort of a graph and energy. This down here, I don't really look at. The wind I'll look at, but this weather data I don't really look at too much. But yeah, we can see uh, really 6 to 10 foot waves from Tuesday to really Thursday afternoon. Seems very likely. This is going to be this is going to be pretty pretty crucial for the East Coast. I think some parts of the beaches along the East Coast will face some severe erosion just from the power of these waves, especially I think closer to North Carolina, southeastern North Carolina, through the Outer Banks. But really, I mean, if you're getting 7 to 10 foot waves hitting the coast, yeah, that's going to cause some issues. And really, these big waves sort of last through the weekend as well. Of course, nothing compared to what will be happening tomorrow and Wednesday, but and Thursday. But again, these are going to be pretty nasty waves, and we can see the periods here increase as they increase stronger the waves. So um, interesting forecast here, and we can see the peak sort of Tuesday night through Wednesday night. And the National Weather Service here, this is the marine forecast. We're gonna look at this section here. Um, so waves heights are expected to be actively rising above threshold of 6 feet on Tuesday and peak late on Wednesday with heights 6 to 10 feet in the South Carolina coastal waters and 8 to 14 feet near the north of Cape Fear. So actually, it does remind me I do need to pull up the Outer Banks here and look at it, and yeah, we can see the significant increase in wave heights, where 15-foot waves are possible Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and yeah, this is we can see these same waves really last all through the weekend as well. Surfer's dream this weekend, and really tomorrow too. Don't know how dangerous it needs to be where surfers um, you know, aren't too comfortable to go out, but yeah, definitely going to have some opportunities in the next week or so. But yeah, we can definitely see the increase of the wave height at Outer Banks. So not good. I think we're gonna have lots of coastal flooding, lots of beach erosion. The beaches are gonna be a mess on the East Coast. I think the main sort of risk is gonna be the rip currents and the large surf. So don't be in the water at all if you're not experienced, and even then, it's probably way too dangerous. So just enjoy it from a view. The next few days. This is definitely nothing to mess around with. Um, would have made a sort of video sooner, but um, I don't know what's happening here. Hold on. Sorry, I had to refresh the site here, but I just want to get this radar loop on the southeast where we'll have most of the action today with just sort of pop-up thunderstorms with a weak cold front sort of dropping through. Um, yeah, this definitely a close call for the East Coast with Erin here, and do want to show one thing here. Oh, what was that? I do want to show one thing here, and I think this is important to sort of at least bring up here. Um, so this is the Euro here, and this is Wednesday afternoon. This is Erin. We can see Erin out east of Florida. We have a ridge really dominating the entire country here, but we do have this little, kink here, this little trough, and this is what is sort of going to be, and with influence of the Bermuda High as well, sort of kick off air into the north and northeast here by Wednesday evening and Thursday morning. This little trough here in the northeast will sort of help direct air and out to the north and northeast as well. Um, if it weren't for this, I think we could very well have at least a closer impact to the Outer Banks, or maybe even direct impact. We won't know that. We don't know. Um, I do think it still probably would have curved out with the Bermuda High, but um, yeah, this little sort of trough here, shortwave, is definitely helping with the steering. And I thought it was pretty cool to mention, and that There are lots of sort of things you need to look at when tracking the movement of a tropical storm and the steering of a tropical storm. There's several sort of um, tendencies tropical storms like to move on and go towards on the movement and the steering. So it's important to look at those and sort of look at everything instead of just what the models are showing a week out. That's not helping anyone at all. So definitely a close call, and just sort of to discuss it right now and to get it out there. We do have another tropical wave off of Africa, and it does have a 60% chance in the next week of forming um, near the vicinity of the Leeward Islands. So whether or not this will hit the US or impact the US in any way, we do not know. All we know is that this tropical wave will be moving toward the Leeward Islands and may have a chance of forming into a tropical system. And how strong, we don't know. Whether it'll get eaten up by the by Erin's sort of cooling on the waters, we don't know either. And so won't really know until later this week, into the weekend, before we have any idea on impacts, potential impacts. So keep an eye on this. This definitely is something to keep an eye on and watch. Really anywhere in the Gulf of Mexico, East Coast, just keep an eye on it. That's all you got to do. No need to worry. Keep looking at the National Hurricane Center updates here. Several updates a day. Um, that's the best thing to do right now. Keep calm, be prepared, don't be scared. That's easily the best thing to do. But as for Erin, Outer Banks, keep an eye on this. You'll have some weather impacts, some gusty winds, some gusty showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two. Um, Nothing crazy. Maybe some flooding, coastal flooding. That's probably going to be the worst thing, and the beach erosion and the surf. Don't be in the water unless you're highly experienced, especially on Wednesday and Thursday. But yeah, everyone just hope everyone has been doing well, taking care of themselves, and staying safe. And I will hopefully be posting a bit more frequent. Um, but we shall see. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.